just like being able to further connect to Guatemalan culture is an honor. It's interesting. It makes me further love this country more. Like, Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Welcome back to the Born to Be Local podcast, the podcast where we take you behind the scenes of building a business and figuring out life in your 20s.
Yes, today we are in Lake Atitlán, or at Lake Atitlán, and we are on a little R&D trip.
As you can see, we're not in our usual setup. We're, in fact, in bed together. Not romantically, consensually. We are staying at a hotel in Atitlán right now, and we actually head back to Antigua today, but we figured we would do like a little, why am I out of breath? No one knows. We figured we would do like a little trip debrief because this trip has actually been so incredible and for many reasons, and we were actually having a conversation last night, and we were like, you know what, this would be like a perfect episode to kind of debrief what an R&D trip looks like for us as a travel company, what we've been doing the past like 6 days, and kind of just talk about everything. Very casual chat. We don't have like a specific theme, but we're just gonna talk about like our travels in Atitlán and really what the purpose of this trip was.
Yes, this is something that we do pretty frequently just to, we have to keep ourselves fresh with the locations that we send people to. We have to know the new cool things that are happening. We have to try out different hotels. It's also just nice to go and meet partners that we already work with in person and just continue to build that relationship with them. Yeah, this trip was really about, this is our 6th day here, right? We've stayed at 3 different places. We've done different tours every single day. And tried different restaurants every day. We like to do a little restaurant hopping every day. So it's really just finding the cool spots that maybe no one has talked about. Like, our favorite places are always places that we don't see on social media, that we find ourselves, places that people aren't talking about. And that is the whole gist of Born to Be Local. We want to find the local spots that no one really knows about. We want to support the local businesses, local Guatemalan businesses, and these trips allow us to really do that.
Okay, so I want to bring it back to, so we ended up leaving Antigua last Thursday. Right?
Yeah.
Thursday. So last Thursday, we left Antigua. We took a shuttle to a place called Chichicastenango. Chichicastenango is I believe it is the biggest outdoor market in Central America. At least that's kind of like the coined phrase. I don't know, we're going to have to fact check that exactly, but we do know it's the biggest market in Guatemala. And it's really incredible. This is something that we've sent our clients to, but we actually hadn't been to before, but we've had a lot of people been there, and we work with a company that we work with all the time for those tours. So we started off with taking a shuttle early in the morning from Antigua to Chichicastenango, and we did a tour there. Now, something we don't talk about or show often, which is why I'm so excited we're doing YouTube now and a podcast, is talking about the moments that happen in travel that are not so glorious and beautiful and amazing. For example, on the way to Chichicastenango, we were in a shared shuttle, not a problem. We're not opposed to shared shuttles. But what happens in Guatemala with traffic is suddenly they're working on the main road. There's only one road, and they're doing construction on it, and you can simply just not go on the road. Therefore, you cannot go there. You cannot go to wherever you're trying to go. So we had to take our luggage with us and walk about 1.5 miles with our luggage to get to where Chichicastenango is. Because again, we had all our stuff because we were eventually making our way to Atitlán. So literally we had to walk 1.5 miles with our luggage. I know that's not that far, but like walking with luggage, we had like backpacks. We had to walk so far with this luggage.
Yeah, and there wasn't really a sidewalk. Like, we were just on the road, like on the main highway kind of to get to where we are. And if we had waited, it probably would have been like a few hours at least. They were like fully taking apart the road and doing like electricity lines. I don't know what they were doing, but it was just full stop traffic for miles probably. And this is at 10 a.m. This happens here. So these are the things that you have to account for while you're traveling.
Yeah, definitely. So, that was a start to the experience, not a problem. But then we finally made it to Chichicastenango, and it is like so, it's seriously, this trip as a whole has been like not only eye-opening, but also just like being able to further connect to Guatemalan culture is an honor. It's interesting. It makes me further love this country more. Like, I feel like Chichicastenango is a great example, or it's a great way to see like all the things come together, because it really was like a mix of all the markets we've seen before, like textiles, woodwork, everything, like all in one market. And that town is just so cool. Like it's this small town, but it has this huge market in the center of it, and it's just so colorful. Like there's every textile you could think of there, as well as like the fruits and meat market and everything. And there's like two beautiful churches on the kind of like on the outsides of the markets. And we're coming upon Semana Santa. So like right now they're decorated. So that was just really, really cool to see.
Yeah, it was the biggest market I've ever seen. It was huge, and it was just so cool to see so many locals in their traditional wear. Like every town in Guatemala, they have their own traditional outfit that they wear, and you can tell by where someone is from by like the different colors or the patterns that they wear. So their specific outfits, like the men especially, so cute. Their little pants, and like I love seeing that. I love seeing them in their element, and just seeing all of the different stands. It was so organized too.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel so chaotic, and like I don't know. I really enjoyed that. And there were actually a lot of tourists there. Thursday and Sundays are market days. And our guide was actually saying that if you go on like a different day, it could be better because there aren't as many tourists, so that there's not as many like tourist stands selling like little souvenirs and stuff. It's more so just fruits and vegetables and meats. So that would be cool to do next time, go like on a less busy day.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, it's an outdoor market and there was a lot of tourists, but I didn't feel like overwhelmed. I think I've seen videos before where it looks just like a really overwhelming outdoor market, so I didn't personally see the draw to it, but now that I've been there, I do. And I agree, I'd be curious to go back when it's not the day that they say to go, because you do get those, like, we call like a tourist stand as like something, a stand that's specifically designed for tourists, so it's less about like selling the art of the textile and more about like a lot of this stuff is like factory made stuff that they're just trying to sell for cheap to make money versus like the craft. So I think you'd see more of that if it was an off day. Either way, there's like a mix of it all of the days. But yeah, the market itself was really beautiful. And then behind the market in Chichicastenango, there's a couple of other things that we did, one of which was going to this famous cemetery there that is the most beautiful, colorful cemetery you've ever seen. And this is kind of a tradition in Guatemala. We've had other tour guides that have kind of talked about this tradition or why they do the colors. But at the end of the day, Guatemala is such a colorful place. If you look at the textiles, if you look at really all the streets and everything, there's just a lot of colors. They really like the beautiful colors. And so they've incorporated this tradition into the cemeteries. So the cemetery looks like rainbow Legos on the side of a building, like literally rainbow Legos. It's so beautiful, like the way that they do the cemeteries there. So we kind of just walked around there for a while. And then while we were there, there was actually somebody performing some sort of ceremony. They kind of have like a small chapel that's dedicated to a particular saint, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's like a chapel that's dedicated to this particular saint that people will come and give offerings and stuff to. So there was actually like a Mayan woman there. She was in her traditional clothing. She was like smoking this giant like rolled tobacco. I don't know what you would call that. I guess it was like a cigar of sorts, but it didn't look like a cigar. But anyways, the tradition is that you put offerings down and you put a bunch of candles and you light that on fire and you give like an offering and pray to this particular saint of sorts.
There was also another guy there. Apparently, you can hire like shamans, or I guess he was a shaman, to go and like pray over your family members that are there. So he was just like throwing water and like smoke over their graves and like saying these different prayers and like chants out loud. And that was really interesting to see, because he literally, that's just what he does all day. Goes and prays over different family members for people.
Yeah. And then next to the cemetery, or close to the cemetery, is an area. I don't know the exact history of this area, because honestly our guide didn't really know either. But there is a particular area in Chichicastenango that people can perform different Mayan ceremonies. It's like a public area. It's pretty much like, it's got these 3 sculptures in the center, and they have these different like almost fire pits that you can do different ceremonies. So we also got to see like people from the public just bring a bunch of stuff. They'll bring, like I said, like candles, things, offerings to put in the center, and then they will do some different prayers and stuff. And it's just so cool to see. Seeing different cultures like that, and the things that they value, the way that they like pray to their gods, or they do these offerings, like it's really interesting. Like it's cool to see other people's traditions, and like especially Mayan culture, it goes back to so long ago, and I'm not a history person. Like I don't know a lot of history. I definitely don't know like much about Mayan culture, but now I know a lot more, especially after this trip, of just learning about like the different ways that they pray to things, or pray to saints, or pray to their gods, or whatever. And it was just so cool. Chichicastenango was really cool. It's really beautiful. We recommend it. That's why it's something that we're offering to our clients. And we also wanted to make sure and try it ourselves. But that was just a really cool experience. We honestly had to do like a rush tour because of the whole walking on the highway for a 1.5 mile situation.
Yeah, we were a little late. But it's only an hour and a half away from Lake Atitlán, and like 2.5, 3 hours away from Antigua. So it's really cool to do it just for like a day trip. It's nice to kind of get away from Antigua or the lake and really see, like, get deep into the culture, Mayan culture, and see something so different that's really not that far away from these areas that everyone usually goes to.
We went from Panajachel to Santa Cruz, and there was a company that was gracious enough to host us there. And so we stayed at their property, and then we were also testing out some of their tours. And I've been to Santa Cruz before, but I haven't spent much time there, and I love it there. Like,
I love it there too.
I thought it was so cute. It's funny because I feel like sometimes I go back and forth. We've talked about like whether we think, well, obviously social media is a great source to get things for Guatemala because #born to be local. But sometimes I will go on social media and I will find really good recommendations for particular locations, and then sometimes specifically the lake, I feel like I see the same recommendations over and over and over again, and I don't really see people talk. There's one hostel in Santa Cruz that I feel like people talk about, or 2, but I don't feel like people talk about like the town enough and like how cute of a place it is, let alone like where it's located in Atitlán is actually like a really great hub to go to, like San Juan or San Marcos, and also Panajachel. So anyways, loved Santa Cruz. I thought it was so cute. There's a particular cafe there that has what I think is like probably one of the best views from a restaurant
Definitely.
that exists in Atitlán.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody talk about this particular cafe or mention it. And the food and the drink. We had this like banana cacao smoothie that was just, I keep thinking about it because it was so good.
So good. I actually stayed in Santa Cruz in September of last year with a friend and didn't even go up to the town because I had no idea what was up there. So we we were only here for like 2 days, but we, focused on the bigger towns. But had I known that all of that was up there, it's a small town, but really great spots, and it just feels super local. And that restaurant, the cacao smoothie, we've had cacao smoothies at almost every restaurant, and that's the best one.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to go back there. I love that town. Very peaceful, such a great spot to stay and explore the other spots.
Yeah. So the next day, we ended up doing a cooking class in Santa Cruz. That was really cute. We ended up making pepian, which is like a traditional Guatemalan dish. It's kind of like the dish that everybody likes to make when they come here. So we wanted to test that out because we've done other cooking classes before, obviously, but we wanted to see what it was like here. And that was cute. It was like 2 Guatemalan women that were kind of like teaching us how to make pepián. It wasn't a lot of like hands-on cooking, but the tough part about trying out tours as a travel company is that you automatically kind of get different treatment, and people would think like, oh, they're going to treat you the best. They're going to do, no. Actually, people kind of turn off a little bit because they're like, oh, you already know this. Like, they don't give us always like the full experience. So we always like brief the companies that we work with and say like, hey, we want you to treat us as if we are 2 girls that know nothing, that it's our first time here and we don't know anything. But I feel like sometimes naturally kind of just people resort into like, oh, they already know, they already blah, blah, blah. So, but it was still great. It was like, it's very cute. It's in her house. So it's like, it's this big kitchen and it's literally in the center of her home. Like her kids were watching Shrek on the TV, like right out there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a cool experience for like tourists coming here. You feel like you're in a traditional home and like cooking lunch there. And
it feels very, very local.
Yes.
And the view from her house is insane. Like, oh my gosh, she's way up. So like in Santa Cruz, you have all of the hotels and hostels. I mean, a few of them right on the water. But then you take a tuk-tuk up and it's maybe like a 10-minute tuk-tuk ride.
Yeah.
And then you're in the town of Santa Cruz and her house is up there and everything up there has this stunning view. I mean, similar to the view that we're looking at right now. And just you're cooking pepián with these 2 little Guatemalan ladies looking at the beautiful lake. Like, it was just such a great experience. I love that.
Yeah, and it's cool. I like the way that they do it as well because they do it like very, very traditional Mayan way, which they use like volcanic stone or a molcajete. I think they call it something different. I think molcajete is specifically in Mexico. It's a volcanic stone that you use to actually like grind everything into this paste versus like using a blender or whatever, which I think is like a cool thing for people to see. Like that's the traditional way to do it. Yeah. Also, I don't know what is in the corn in Atitlán, but these tortillas are next level delicious. Like, oh my gosh, the tortillas that we made for that cooking class and the ones that we've had at restaurants here, the masa here is like super fine powder. It's really good. I'm not a tortilla expert, but I have made quite a few tortillas before, and I just buy like the masa from the market. It's not the same.
No, those are probably the best I've ever had.
Yeah.
And she sprinkled some like sea salt on them. Oh my gosh, it was
we've
incredible.
had some good food, you guys, like some good food. We're so excited to like share all the content from this because this episode's going to come out before all our Atitlán content comes out. And like we have had some really good food from places we haven't really heard much about. So we're excited to share more about that. Okay. So we met a business owner here in Guatemala. He is from the US, but he has been in Guatemala for like 20 plus years and living in Santa Cruz with his wife. So we got to talk to him, and just talking to him and seeing all the incredible things that he's doing for the community is incredibly inspiring because it's something that we eventually want to do. Well, in many ways, we try to do that now as much as we can, but obviously in the future, when we are much larger company, much more successful, like there's going to be ways that we are able to use that success for good. And he was a great example of that. He is constantly giving back to the community and is currently building a children's school in Santa Cruz. And it was just like a really inspiring conversation. It was, in fact, a highlight of my trip to just see somebody that is running a successful business and takes that and supports back to the community that like gave him the success. And it's really what we feel about Guatemala too. Like even the success that we've had thus far, like we owe it to Guatemala and Guatemalans for like supporting us and this beautiful country for us to be able to promote it and just like show people how beautiful it is and want them to come here and experience the culture for themselves. It's something that we always want to give back. And that's like the whole gist of Born to Be Local too, is like, that's why we call ourselves that. Like we are here to support the locals that have the beauty that we're showing to people.
Yeah, we cannot wait to give back even more. We do what we can now, but I mean, the more you have, the more you can give. And this travel company owner that we met is just such a great example of that. And that was my favorite part of the trip, was meeting him and talking to him and just seeing like, okay, this is our future. I can see our future so bright. Yeah, it was just really incredible. They do a lot of like business training, and they train locals to become guides and how to own their own businesses. And I can just definitely see us doing something like that.
Yeah.
And just seeing how integrated they are with the community is just really, really inspiring. And I love that.
Yeah, that was a really cool experience, and he just like gave us a tour of the organization and everything, so that was really great to meet him and connect with him further, and like we'll be doing business with them for sure.
Yeah.
That was kind of the whole point of this trip, was to meet them and do further business. So we had that day where we met with him, and then that night we ended up going to La Iguana Perdida for the group dinner. Yes.
We thought this was going to be like, all right, it's Friday night, it's our party night, let's get a little crazy, let's have a group dinner, meet some people, have a few drinks. Yeah, we had dinner.
We definitely had dinner, and we mean this with all love, okay? All love. But we did get caught in the midst of 18-year-old missionaries who are here on a long trip to spread the word of God. And love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. But here's the thing. The original intention in our head was, it was just so drastically different from what actually happened. It was funny. Yeah. It was funny, okay? It was funny. I love what they're doing, and we actually got to talk to them, and like, it's honestly something we'd love to start offering, is like kind of doing more of this mission trip stuff. At least like coordinating with companies that do that. But it was just kind of funny because we were the oldest people in the room. It was a bunch of like 18, 19-year-olds who were on like a 6-month-long mission trip throughout Central America. So it was silly, goofy, and we did think it was funny. So we had dinner with them, and they were great. Like, we talked to a bunch of them and like had really good conversation, but that was just kind of funny. But that hostel is cool.
Very cool. Cozy vibe at night. It's been there for, I think, 30 years.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first hostels in Santa Cruz. So we just had to check it out for ourselves, you know. It was a nice little dinner. I think it was like $13 or something for the family dinner.
Yeah.
And just a great way to meet people. Even if you're not staying at a hostel, like going and checking out the group dinner, or they have like different activities every day. Doing something like that, it's a great way to meet people. So we did that, and we did meet some people, very nice girls, very cute, but it was an early night for us.
The following day, we had a villages tour. And this villages tour was so great, and is like the reason that I feel extra well-versed with Atitlán. We've been to Atitlán many times, but I feel like we haven't explored each town like we have this trip. And so now I really understand each town and the vibe that each one gives. And so we did this villages tour. We started in San Juan. We started in San Juan, and then we ended up going to Santiago after. We only did 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did those 2 towns. So we started in San Juan, and San Juan it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
Yeah, it's the very cute, artsy, the most colorful town that there is.
And there is a lot of tourist stuff there, but it is like a really cool way to see things within Guatemalan culture. Like, they've done a really good job with this town, and it is very colorful. It does look like Candyland a little bit in particular streets, but there's like incredible street art. Frankly, everywhere in Atitlán, but in why did I say that so gringa? In Atitlán, sorry. There's a lot of street art in Atitlán, but in San Juan in particular, there's like particular streets with just like really incredible street art. But there we did a tour, and our tour guide is from San Juan, and that is always, we have learned, like, when you get somebody that is from a particular area, that's when your guide is going to be really good, because they are able to make personal connections to things that make the tour memorable. And so we got to like walk around San Juan for a while, and then he also owned a tuk-tuk, so we were able to take his tuk-tuk around San Juan and see other things.
Yeah, he was great. We even got to see the cemetery in San Juan where like his brothers are buried and his father, and like seeing that was, very emotional, but incredible just to see. Like, again, it was super colorful, and it's really, I love the cemeteries here because it is truly like a celebration of life, it feels like, when you go in there. But being with a local and seeing like where his dad is and his brothers, and it's just very, very special. It makes it super memorable.
Yeah. My highlight for San Juan was we went to this like bee farm and learned about stingless bees, which I didn't know existed. And then we got this whole tour. We're going to show a lot of it in our YouTube video, so go check out our YouTube video. But we have a whole YouTube video. It's going to vlog everything. But that was like such a cool experience because I didn't know stingless bees existed. And we got to see like the different hives and like how they use, because like Mayans used to use honey, I believe, for different like medicinal properties and things, and they still do. So it was just cool to learn about that. But San Juan was beautiful. After San Juan, we went to Santiago, which once again, people don't really talk about Santiago to go to or visit. And I think it was like the coolest experience.
Yeah, I've never seen any social media videos or photos or anything of Santiago. And it was my favorite town, probably my favorite day of the trip. Just being there, and there wasn't a lot of tourists around. It was super, super local. We went into someone's house to go see Mashimo, which is like this saint that they have like a statue of him, and you pretty much like bring him offerings like alcohol and cigarettes, money. And they believe, like the Mayans believe, that when you're smoking and drinking with him, you're connecting with him. And so they have this statue that travels around like every year or every 4 years now. And it stays in someone's house for a full year, and people pay like 5 quetzales to come and visit it and bring offerings and pray with him. So we got to go see that in person in someone's house. And that was just such an incredible experience. Like, oh, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it's just, there's like a fine line and an interesting experience to want to go to the beautiful town, something like San Juan, that's like very designed for tourism. It's very established and everything. And then you go, now Santiago is as well, but there's particular parts, especially the parts we were in Santiago, that they're the reality of the locals. Like it's not going to be a place that's like ultra colorful and beautiful buildings. It's how the locals are living. Like it's smaller homes, and it's like there's more trash around, or there's dirtier streets or things like that. But it more so gives you like that immersion of how some of the life is there. And I think it's just cool to see both. And we want people to have that experience too. Like as much as we love a place like San Juan or San Pedro or San Marcos or whatever, that's cool. We also want people to experience like what the life is like actually for the locals, the Mayan locals that are there. Because obviously there's different types of locals, but we also went to the church in Santiago that has like a really incredible history from a pastor that's from Oklahoma who came here like during the Civil War and was trying to protect the people of Santiago. And so now they have this whole church dedicated to him. But we got to go into a church service, and we were the tallest and whitest people in this room. It was all Mayan Guatemalans sitting with their traditional wear on. The girls like put wraps around their head once like the mass starts, and getting to experience that was just amazing. Again, the vlog is going to show everything, but Santiago was just so cool to see. Just really beautiful. Again, the vlog, you guys, that vlog's going to we have hours of footage.
Yeah.
Hours of footage from this experience. After that, we went to Panajachel, and I feel like Panajachel, we've been there quite a few times. So this was more so just to find like more restaurants and stores and stuff that we haven't really heard people talking about, or just like good food that we wanted to find, like more offerings, because we hear the same places over and over again. And I feel like we found those spots. I'm excited. We had some really good food there, and saw some beautiful sunsets and things in Pana. One of the days we did like an ATV tour that went out of San Pedro, and that's really cool. Like it's such a beautiful drive. So we wanted to just test out if somebody wanted to do an ATV tour, what that was like. And it was a cool tour. Yeah. Pretty drive.
Yeah, it was nice getting to go like behind all of the towns, kind of like on the back roads, because here at the lake, you just take launches, like you take public boats to each town, each village, and it's much quicker getting around that way. But this way with the ATVs, we got to see, like, go actually into the town and, you know, like all in the back roads. And that was really, really beautiful. Yeah, that was a good tour. It was pretty quick. We also went to the spot where people like do all the cliff jumping here in San Marcos, and that was really cool to see. It was really beautiful, and we watched a few people jump. I think it's like a 30-foot jump.
Yeah.
Pretty decent.
I'll not be jumping. I've done cliff jump before, but I'm not jumping in this water from 30 feet.
I'm not jumping in this water either.
No. Another thing that we did yesterday was go to like a yoga retreat center and see where they do cacao ceremonies literally within the valley of a mountain, and where they do it is like built into the rock.
Yeah.
Incredible, you guys. Again, you got to go watch this video because we do a lot of more footage on it, but that was like incredible to see. And also this particular yoga retreat really focuses on preserving like Mayan traditions, which is really important to us when we're doing the Mayan ceremonies, because that particular town, like San Marcos, has very gimmicky like therapies and ceremonies and stuff. And that's not what we want. It's not what we're about. So we found a very cool cacao ceremony.
Yes, this place is literally up in the jungle. It's in the forest. It's like
we hiked there.
25-minute hike to get up there. Yeah. Like you can't drive up there.
Yeah, Erin's an unreliable source because I was wearing jeans, okay? I was wearing jeans. I had to hike for like 25 minutes, not to mention another nature reserve thing that we did. We're not even going to get into that, okay? But
nature reserve my ass. Not a nature reserve.
This is why, you know what? Forget all that. We do want to bring this podcast episode to the importance of research and development, and why do people see us frolicking around and it looks like we're just traveling for fun all the time? That is not, yes, it is fun, but there is a reason, you guys, why we pride ourselves in the way that we do business, is because there's so many experiences that I've heard people recommend or people talk about that we absolutely do not recommend. We will never recommend them. No, we're not going to call them out and say don't do this, but you know if we're not talking about it, there's a reason we're not talking about it, or if we don't recommend it to you, there's a reason. There's a couple things that we did this trip that I just am like, would never do again. Do not like that guide. Sometimes, unfortunately, you got people who are just incredibly unfriendly, and service is so important, especially being a travel company that outsources for a lot of tours and things and guides. It's not always just us. Your attitude and the way that you treat our customers reflects directly to us. And so if you have a bad attitude, and you're rude for no reason, you don't treat people with respect, you're going to lose us. And we definitely had a couple of those experiences this time where I was just like, wow, I cannot believe, why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's so silly, because now we don't want to use you for literally anything.
Right.
And you're on our internal blacklist of never working with you again.
We have a no tolerance policy with that. Like we do not tolerate rudeness. Okay, we're not having that over here. We need positive, good vibes.
Yeah.
And if you're not bringing that, sorry, we're not bringing you anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Especially in Guatemala, like the people are so innately kind and warm and friendly. Like we want to provide that experience in everything that we offer, because that is genuinely what the people are like here. So if you're going to be rude, no, get out of here.
Yeah, we don't do that. But it really is the important part of, the way that we do business now, is trying out these experiences, because we just have to experience it for ourselves. Like, even if people recommend it, like that's the biggest takeaway from this was like, even if people recommend it, it doesn't mean it's great. At least us. Again, this is an opinion of two girls, okay? This is our company's opinion, but like we come from we both come from very business-oriented backgrounds. So, like, it's not just having fun. It's also the way that customers are treated and everything. And, like, we want the absolute best for our customers. So,
yeah,
that was the biggest takeaway from this trip. And the in-between craziness, the amount of launches we took yesterday, you guys, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. We took, like, 6 launches yesterday.
I know. We've done so much every day. And The lake is very much so a place that is early mornings and early nights.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going out and partying until 1 a.m. And so we haven't been drinking at all, really.
Yeah.
But, like, I've woken up feeling so hungover every day. So I don't know how. We've just done so much. You really can. You can do a lot. And you can do a lot in a couple days here. This is the longest we've spent here. And honestly, I've really enjoyed it. And I think we got so much done this trip. It's been very productive.
Yeah.
We really got a good grip of things to do here and which companies we definitely will continue to work with.
Yes, and we're super excited because this year we actually are going to be launching the dates next week, but this year we are doing a big trip in Guatemala, and one of the places we're coming is Atitlán, and we feel like we have these spots for that trip. We're so excited. It's going to be the Explore Guatemala trip. I think that's what we're calling it. We're going to keep that. Explore Guatemala trip. Dates coming soon. We want to have you if you want to come, and we've now extra done the research.
Yeah.
But it's been such a great trip. It's, first of all, so fun. Hey, I get to travel with my best friend for my job.
Yeah.
How fun is that? But also, we found a lot of great recommendations, and also met a follower.
Oh, yeah.
We've actually met a couple followers, but we met a follower on Alancha who bought our coffee. Shout out you. Nice to meet you. So crazy. What are the odds?
Yeah.
Also, what a crazy experience for people. They must think we're everywhere because
We are everywhere.
we really be everywhere.
On the same public lancha. Like, it's so random. He heard us telling our story to someone next to us, and he was like, born to be local.
Kind of embarrassing. I get a little embarrassed sometimes because Alancha is like a small place, and you turn around and it's like, oh, you guys are famous. And we're like, oh no, everybody's already staring. Anyways, it's just so funny. But it's been such an incredible trip. We have like a couple hours left, and then we are headed back to Antigua, and we have so much work to do. But hey, this was just like a little chat. We kind of just told you about our trip, and I just have so much love for this country. Oh my gosh, like that's my takeaway from this week. I have so much love for this country, and like I want people to experience it and I want to preserve the beauty of it and preserve the culture and the way that people want it to be. And so it's really like opened my eyes to that, further reminded me how important that is and how powerful what we're doing is, really.
It really is.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a good, like, grounding reminder of a trip.
Yeah.
And, to focus on the bigger picture here and just really enjoy this country the way it should be enjoyed.
Yes.
And have other people come and experience it the way that it should be experienced.
Definitely. If you guys need a trip to Guatemala planned for you, you know who to call. At Born to Be Local on Instagram, at Born to Be Local Pod, .pod on Instagram. We have YouTube. We have TikTok. We have Instagram. We got everything.
Everything.
We have everything. We are everywhere. You can't escape us. No, but make sure and share this video if you find any of this information useful, because I feel like we gave a lot of good tips in this video. Or if you have a friend who wants to start a business, is in their 20s. We talk about a lot of things on this podcast. Make sure and share. Oh, we're on Spotify, because this is a podcast. I forgot that platform. Born to Be Local podcast. Thank you guys for listening. And we're having a good time.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening. And also, make sure you stay up to date with all of the information that will be coming out on our Explore Guatemala trip. Group trip, end of this year. So excited.
So excited. Thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.